So hi everyone, welcome to this session. Today, top tips for maintaining your mental well-being when working in education. So that's us, woohoo! And I'm really delighted that I've been joined today by Georgette, and who's going to introduce herself to you in a moment and just explain a little bit more about what she does. And then we'll have a profile look through and things, top tips for you to take away and use in your professional practice. So welcome, Georgette. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background?
Yes, definitely. So hi everyone, I'm Georgette Desira and I'm a mental health therapist and a mental wellbeing coach. I've worked and studied mental health ever since I was 16, so over 20 years now. And I'm trained in a lot of different modalities, including cognitive behavioural therapy. And I've worked in many different settings, including prisons, acute mental health wards, forensic units, community mental health teams, and for a very, very short time at the start of my career in schools as well. And at the moment, I work privately, mostly with women one-to-one, just supporting women around their mental well-being and mental health in order to get them feeling really well and healthy in a really easy and accessible way. I believe mental well-being shouldn't be difficult to achieve. It should be easy and accessible, but the key is those consistent daily habits that you do to maintain your well-being and put yourself first. And I'm really excited to share just some really easy and simple tips that hopefully you can access yourselves on a daily basis. When I share them, you're going to think this is really simple, but the point is that it's simple and it's easy, but over time it can significantly improve your mental well-being. And my partner is a teacher. He's a secondary school teacher in a school near us in Wellingborough. So I have shared this with him and he approves that it's teacher approved. So just to let you know.
Okay, I'll move on, shall I, to the slide for you?
Yes, please.
Okay.
So these are the 4 tips we are going to go through. So we can actually just go to the next slide and just start with the first tip, which is booking time off. So this is, again, like I said, it's really easy, but I know from living with a teacher that sometimes he's on his laptop at 8 o'clock at night, still working away, and he then gets to sort of 9:30 and he hasn't switched off for the day. And that's fine every now and then, but then I really see the impact it has on his mental well-being if he consistently does that over time. So ask yourself the really simple question: what are my working hours? We all know you have contracted hours that you work and that you have to work to get paid. But in any sort of caring profession, like working in education, it's very sometimes hard to stick to our contracted hours because there's always something extra you could be doing. So have a think. Like, I know probably thinking about it monthly might be a bit too hard, but maybe on a Sunday evening, think, okay, what is my working week looking like this week? Do I have any evenings I have to stay later at work because there's commitments have come up and I need to do that? And then work out your week, work out when you're starting and when you're finishing each day and stick to it. It's really important you stick to it and you make that commitment to yourself. Let everyone know, okay, it's Wednesday, I'm finishing at 6 o'clock today. If you need anything from me, let me know before 6. If it's after 6, it would just have to wait until tomorrow, I'm afraid. And let everyone in your home know, okay, at 6 o'clock, I'm switching off from work. Do not want to talk about work, do not want to stress about it. I want to just enjoy my evening with my family and my loved ones. And you will find that having this barrier, this boundary of actually, this is when I switch off, this is when work me finishes and personal life me starts, it would just really help you to switch off and realize that actually my work is important, but it isn't everything. And there's so much more happening in my life that should get my attention as well. And the best way to do that is with my next tip. So if you go on to the next slide, please, is to decompress. So again, in a caring profession like working in education, we spend all our time giving. We give so much to the people around us and we take so much from the people around us in terms of emotions and stress. And if you don't decompress once you finish your working day, you will find that you're carrying around everyone else's stress and emotions, and you don't have anything left for yourself because you've given it all away to everyone throughout your day. So you know what time you're finishing every day, find something to do to decompress, to let the day go, so you can get it out of your mind and body, and you know it's time for you and your own life. This is different for everyone. It's honestly, you've got to trial and test it and see what works best for you. But things that put you in your body are definitely the best ways to decompress after a really long day. So some examples are going for a walk, working out, cooking dinner with music on, or if you drive home from work, singing to music full blast on your drive home. Just something that's really physical to get the day out of your body. And this will be a really great psychological trigger for your brain as well. Because then when you do that on a daily basis, your brain and your body will know, oh, yes, we've finished work. Now we can relax, and now we can actually just enjoy the rest of the evening. So trial and test it. Have fun with this. Do something different every day for a week and see which one you enjoyed the most. And then do that every day when you finish work. And it could be just for 10 minutes. It doesn't have to be for long, but 10 minutes really can change everything and really just let you have that breath to let it go and start your evening. And then tip number 3 is to get a vent buddy. This is a bit controversial, but I'm going to stick with this one because this is probably my favorite tip out of all of them. I know in the world of psychology, a lot of people are saying, just think positive thoughts, just think positive and then get on with it. But I really don't agree with that. And thankfully, there's so much research coming out in the trauma world that doesn't agree with it as well. And there's so much research coming out saying, actually, if you hold on to your negative emotions, it can really impact your mental health and your physical health. Because when you suppress a negative emotion, it doesn't go anywhere. It just stays within you. And then something will happen to trigger you, and that emotion will come back up. Then you will suppress it more, and then a trigger will happen, it will come back up, and the emotion will just get bigger and bigger and bigger and stronger, to the point where you get easily triggered, and then your reaction to the trigger will be extreme. And so that's why it's so important when you feel negative emotions, you don't even have to call them emotions, it's just an emotion. You feel it and you vent it and you let it out. You are going to find some people in your education settings that are annoying and frustrating. It's just a fact of life. We're all human and we're all going to meet people we just do not like. And that's just a fact. I have many clients throughout the years that I found frustrating. It didn't stop me from supporting them, but I knew that when I had time with that client, I would definitely have to decompress after seeing them. I would definitely have to vent and let it out, so then I could focus on my next client. And that's what you need to do. You need to realize that you're human. It doesn't make you a bad person if you find certain people frustrating, but you have to let it out. So find someone you trust, a colleague at work, someone at home. Even if you enjoy journaling, maybe have you be your own person that you trust and journal it out and just let it out, like literally let it out, no holding back, like swear if you have to, bang the table if you have to, if you know, when you get home from work, if you have to throw a pillow around in your bedroom for a bit, like do it, let out that negativity, let out that emotion, let out the frustration, because not only would it mean that you're letting out the emotion so it doesn't fester in your body, but it also really promotes problem solving. It frees up your brain from all this negativity you were feeling, and it gives you space to think, to have a clearer mind, to then focus on, okay, this person is frustrating me, but how can I deal with it better the next time? Or how can I have better boundaries next time so they don't impact me even more? And it actually frees you up to find these solutions that if you didn't let it out, you might find it harder to find these solutions because you're just festering on the negativity. And then the final tip I have for you is to set boundaries. You probably guessed, like everything I've been talking about is boundaries, but boundaries need their own tip as well. I truly believe boundaries are everything, no matter what you do for work, what you do for life, everything is about boundaries. And boundaries are about, see it as like your shield. They're your shield that you carry around with you every day, and they protect you from other people's negativity, from other people's opinions, from other people trying to put you down. And they allow you to keep your sense of purpose, your sense of identity and your self-esteem, regardless of what's happening around you. And it allows you to know, like, I know what I'm doing is good because I'm looking after myself with my shield, with my boundaries. And if you're not sure what I'm talking about with boundaries, here's a couple of like prompts you can reflect on. So am I bringing too much work home with me? Am I thinking about work too much at home? Is it keeping me up at night? Do I feel able to say no when I'm feeling overwhelmed? Do I able to say, no, this bit of work isn't for me. This is actually so-and-so's job. They should be doing it. No, I don't have time to stay late tonight, I'm afraid. I need to get home to my family. Do I feel able to stick to my working hours and not go beyond them? Or am I always agreeing to do extras in order to look after my colleagues and make sure no one gets into trouble? Start with these really simple questions to reflect on and think about, do I have clear boundaries in place that mean that I can protect my own well-being while I'm working? Or actually, am I a bit wishy-washy? Am I a bit all over the place? And maybe I need to start setting 1 or 2 boundaries in place in order to look after myself and my own mental well-being. And the trick to boundaries is to make them simple, clear and consistent. Because if they're simple and clear, they're easier to stick with, so they will become consistent. And if they're simple, clear and consistent, people around you will be able to respect them more because they will know, okay, don't mess with Georgette after 6 o'clock on a Friday because she is not going to want me talking to her about work because she will be with her children. And people will just respect them if they're clear and consistent. So don't be afraid to set boundaries. People might at first, if you're very much a yes person, the first time you say no might be a bit like, oh, okay, wasn't expecting that. But the more you're consistent with them, the more they will respect you and the more they will think about what they're asking you to do and whether it is a possibility that you will say yes. And the great thing about boundaries is the more you're consistent with them, the more it will increase your mental well-being, but also just your self-esteem as well. It will make you feel really good about yourself because you know you're looking after yourself first and making yourself a priority. So 4 very simple tips, but actually when you think about them, the trick to all of them is the consistency. Be consistent with all these tips. Give yourself a challenge. Try and put 1 principle of each of these tips into practice for the next 30 days. And I guarantee you at the end of the 30 days, you're going to feel so much more confident, so much more calmer, and so much more able to take on your work because you're not overcommitting, you're making yourself a priority and you feel good about yourself, which is all what mental well-being is about. It's about you feeling good about who you are, your own self-identity, your own sense of purpose. So
I'll just ask you something about that. So you've said 30 days, so set yourself a 30-day plan. And would you say each day decide on the one thing that you're going to be more boundaried with or take more care over, or would you suggest each of these tips every day?
So I would say you could probably do each of these tips every day, but if that feels overwhelming, that's not a good feeling to go into the plan with. So if when I say that you feel overwhelmed, then maybe take 1 away, like never take boundaries away. That is the most important one. And if you've got boundaries, then you kind of got tip 1 with the working hours as well, because that's a boundary in itself. And then if you just do those 2 for 30 days, yeah, that would be a really great starting place. And then the point of 30 days is so it becomes habitual, it becomes a habit. Because after 30 days, you won't even have to think about it. It would just become so natural for you to do it. Mm. And then if after 30 days you got them 2 down, then maybe you can add the decompressing into it as well.
Yeah, very good. Has anybody got anything that they want to share that was just a decompressed one? Let me just go back to that one. Find something you do. What you can put into the chat box. I know there's only 3 actual joiners here, but what do you do, Georgette? What's your example to decompress?
So I do cook a lot with my son when I come home, because obviously my partner's a teacher and I work from home, so he comes home a bit later than me, so dinner is sort of my responsibility. But I'm quite lucky. I think when you have children at home, it's easier to decompress because they naturally just like to do things that are decompressing by nature. And my son loves to dance and sing, so we do put music on and just, to be honest, just act like idiots in the sitting room for like 20 minutes. That's what we do.
I think music is a big one, isn't it? If you can your favorite tunes on, and they do say that you should have a little playlist that makes you feel motivated, and a playlist that helps you calm down, and a playlist that can, your favorite songs that make you feel like you've gone off to a distant planet somewhere, just to feel good.
Definitely. And I had another way to decompress, which is a bit out there, but it's called rage dancing. So it's based on the principle that animals, when they have trauma or negative emotion, they shake and they physically get an emotion out of the body. But humans, because of life as we know it, it's not really acceptable to sort of, someone pushes you on the street and you just shake it out your body. We would think that's a bit weird. But actually, there's a lot of research saying that humans are animals, and this is something that we should be doing. And this might be why a lot more people are experiencing the negative impacts of trauma, because we don't have those embodiment work to get it out of our body.
Yeah.
Putting on sort of, it's called rage dancing or shaking. So putting on sort of angry music and either like shaking it out your body, or punching and throwing pillows around, or just doing whatever you need to do to get the rage out, has been really, the research has shown that it's a really great coping technique for anger and negative emotions.
Okay, letting it out, that's what you're saying. And that's, I take on what you said about how when people don't explain or talk, that they do just internalize it. And I think there's a great deal of that that's been going on for a while now, hasn't there, especially in education, for various reasons. And when they say it's good to talk, it's because it actually is, isn't it?
Yeah, it is literally good to talk. It's based in so much research. It's really important that we express ourselves, and obviously if you're with colleagues, do it in a really respectful way, but it's really important that you let your concerns out. Because if you think about organizational as well, if everyone's just sort of getting on with it and not expressing when something's not working, then how will the system ever change? And I know there's a lot of dynamics that go into this sort of thing, but it's about being mindful of, if I feel this way, then surely other people must feel this way. So why don't we talk together and see how we can support each other to get through this?
I think there are places that have mental health first aiders now, aren't there? So they've recognised it in many schools and colleges that I go to. They do have mental health first aiders, but that doesn't mean to say it's a long-term thing. It's just, someone to do an initial talk with, should you wish to talk to somebody. So, I think there is an awful lot expected that we will do ourselves to feel better.
Yeah, and mental health first aid training is a really great piece of training, and my partner just literally went on it with his school, and it's really amazing. But it is really sort of basic level training, and I noticed that he got the training and then sort of the school was left to implement the things that they learn, and the school didn't do that. They were like, it's up to you guys if you want to implement it, it's not our responsibility. And so it's like, well, actually this is really important stuff. It's not only important for the professionals, but for the students as well, that we practice these principles on a daily basis.
Very interesting. Let's move on here. If anyone's got any questions, please do either speak or type into the chat. But in the meantime, if you want to know anything else about Georgette and the type of work she does, and this is how you can contact her. Now, if it's all right with you, Georgette, when I send a recording to the people who aren't here, will it be okay for me to send a copy of these slides with it?
Yes, definitely. And if no one's on Instagram, you're more than welcome to share my email as well. If anyone's I know it's quite awkward sometimes to ask questions in settings like this. So if anyone wants to ask me a question one-on-one, I'm more than happy to provide any sort of support I can to anyone.
Thank you. So I will provide all of that in the follow-up to this. Okay, thank you very much. Now I think Lunch and Learn might be over now.